number of requests to do a lesson on some rhythm guitar, so I thought what better place to start than the most classic country guitar rhythm that's out there, the rhythm part from Working Man Blues. Working Man Blues is a song by Merle Haggard. It was first recorded, I think, in '69, and I was doing some research into this song. Turns out a few things. One, turns out I've been playing it wrong my entire life, which we'll get into here in a bit. There's actually different versions, even from Merle's band itself. They play it different ways at different points kind of through his career. So we're gonna break down kind of the different ways they played it, the way it was played on the original record, and then kind of the way that's been adapted by the country scene. Now it seems anytime you see people playing this live or on YouTube videos, they always kind of do the more the version, I guess, that I had learned that I think is maybe more prevalent now. Just to quickly demonstrate kind of the variations I'm talking about, the way that I learned this and the way I feel like you normally hear it played now is kind of with that added, it's almost like you're playing the top of a D over the A. But let's listen to the original recording. They're not actually adding all those notes. Once you listen to the original version like that, you realize they're never adding these notes up here at all. So I've done a few things here. I took the drums out, and then I also moved this up a half step. The original recording was an A flat, but for the sake of learning this, the future recordings that Merle put out were all in A, standard A. So we're just going to kind of move this one up a half step so that it's easy to compare side by side with the future renditions. So let's listen to this version one more time. So there's some interesting things going on here, and he doesn't even play it the same pattern each time that he goes through. That first little bit there, you can really hear that minor to major third. I don't know if he just stops playing that or if it just gets buried more, but it's not as prevalent in the next few repetitions of this. The other thing that's interesting is as he plays this, you hear that he plays the flat 7 there. And then the rest of the time he doesn't play that flat 7, he's playing your root. So listen again. You really hear that. And then as it keeps going, so the first time you hear that flat 7, and then after that it's this. But you're also getting there's some amount of that minor to major third ringing out like I talked about over that. So here's how I think about playing this. The easiest way is to make a bar on your 5th fret. So playing like an E shape, but it's an A chord. And then I'm gonna start with my pick on that low E string. And then I'm immediately jumping up and picking the A string with my pick. But as I pick that A string, I'm also plucking the D string and the G string at the same time. So it sounds like this. So that's just kind of to give you the idea of the picking pattern. We're going to be hammering on as we play that second part. So we're hammering on, and the first time I'm going to play an A7. So I'm leaving that kind of that octave out, and I'm picking the low E string, and then I'm hammering on right there on the A string, also hammering on here, but my pick is playing the A string, and my two chicken picking fingers are plucking the D and the G string, hammering on. And then all I'm doing after that is I'm using my middle finger to pluck that flat 7 in this case, and then my pick again on the A string, going back to the root, the low E string, it's an A note. Then instead of doing that 7 shape that we did the first time, I'm now going to do an actual major shape. So I'm adding my pinky in here on the 7th fret. And now I'm still doing the same pattern with my right hand, but I'm hammering on all 3 of these notes. So if you think about it, that's way different than kind of the part we all associate, at least I associate, with working man blues. So this next track we're going to listen to is off one of his greatest hits albums. He has a few of those different kind of compilations of greatest hits. Really quickly, let's just listen to a little bit of this second one. Once again, I've taken the drums out. This one was recorded in the key of A, so I haven't pitch shifted it at all. I'm trying to keep the snippets short just in case the video gets copyrighted. But yeah, so here it is without the drums. So let's talk about what's going on in this version. This is kind of the version that you hear moving forward when it's played. And probably the version that maybe you most commonly associate with the working man blues. So what's going on there? Instead of doing the bar now, I'm just using the open A string. And I'm still barring, just kind of doing like a half bar. I'm still barring on the 5th fret, but I'm only barring those top 3 strings. And really we only need the 5th fret on the G string and the B string. So I'm barring those and I'm plucking them. Same thing, I'm using my middle and ring finger to pluck those. So a picked note, then the pluck, and then I'm immediately hammering on to that minor to major thirds, minor to major third sound, 5th fret to 6th fret. And then I'm using my fingers again to pluck that bar on the 7th fret. So yeah, just one picked note again. The tricky thing to get down here is that rhythm. So just really slow it down. And once you kind of get the hang of that, doing it slow, it becomes easier to work it up to speed. But the notes themselves, it just repeats over and over, but it's getting that rhythm down. So the cool thing that you hear that he does there at the end, just to kind of give it some variety, is we go through it twice. So all I'm doing there is I'm sliding from 7 to 9, and then plucking the 7th fret on the D string. One thing to note, you'll hear players kind of add a bunch of extra notes on that low A string. And that can be a fun way to kind of give it a more rolling rhythmic feel, but you don't hear all those extra picked notes on this recording. They're keeping it pretty sparse. And they're pretty muted. It's not like a big open A is ringing out against the rest of the parts. So it's pretty subtle. You don't need to add a ton of those extra notes. It can be fun if that's what you're going for, but certainly not required. So I want to wrap this up, but we can't do a rhythm lesson without talking about what we're going to play over the other chords. Obviously this song has the A, it has the D chord, has the E chord. And same thing, if you listen to different versions of this, whether they're playing it live or even the recorded ones, the guitar parts are super cool. It's almost like master classes in different rhythm ideas. But we're going to kind of go over just the most basic one that I feel like you kind of hear recurring throughout the different versions. And that is also a bar. So if we're thinking the D chord, and then back to the A. Then the nice thing about the relationship with that D chord and the E chord is that we can just move what we did up 2 frets, up to a D or an E. So all I'm doing in that rhythm part is I'm barring the 5th fret and then adding my middle finger on the 6th fret of the B string. I'm picking with my pick the D note, so that 5th fret A string, and then I'm using my fingers to pluck the B and the G strings. Then I'm hammering on from the 6th fret to the 7th. So adding the 8th fret, and then going back to that hammer on. You can add that extra syncopated picked note. Then going back to the A. Do it in E. There you go. And with a chord that's not country at all. Perfect. All right, cool. I think that wraps it up. A lot to kind of unpack in this. There's a lot to work on. These rhythms, these patterns, the way your fingers are moving. It's not going to just happen overnight. There is some mechanics involved. So, like I said, though, definitely worth investing the time getting these under your fingers, because then you can use this stuff in all sorts of different settings, and it sounds super cool. Yeah, I think that's it as far as this lesson. Let me know if you have questions. Yeah, just leave them in the comments down below. As always, I appreciate support on this channel. I do have a Patreon going now, so there will be a link to that. We got some cool stuff going on over there. There's going to be a whole mini series on how to kind of build speed in both the right hand and left hand, and some stuff we can do there. So yeah, I appreciate if anyone wants to go check that out. I think that is it all. That's all. I can't really talk anymore. All right, cool. Boy, this is really going off the rails. So I'm just going to wrap this video up. Cheers. We'll see you all in the next one. But anyways, yeah, this was, it was originally recorded by Merle Haggard in 1969. And the album credits have both of his guitar players on there. So first we have James Burton. James kind of started playing out with Merle before Roy Nichols ended up kind of taking over. Burton also played with Elvis. He played with a number of amazing artists. He's actually still alive today. There's videos of him joining any number of amazing musicians on stage kind of throughout his life. So the internet's kind of divided on who played what part. It sounds like the lead parts themselves have the James Burton feel. I think it's established that he played that. The rhythm part itself that I'm going to kind of go over today, according to the internet, Roy Nichols played on, but the parts he played are very James Burton-esque. So whether or not he being Roy Nichols actually played these parts, I think it's safe to say credit for the kind of the feel of it would still go to James Burton. There are also some accounts that Roy was sick the days that these songs were recorded, so that it was just James on the entire track. Like I said, I don't claim to know exactly who played this part. Very, very Burton-esque, like I mentioned. But yeah, I'd love to hear below in the comments if you guys have insight into what actually went on those days. We'd love to hear it. So please fill us in below.